Hey, everybody, we want to welcome you to another great edition of Ranch Horse Rhinestones and Rowels. I'm Sherry Neighbors, and with me, as always, is my friend, colleague, trainer, and coach, Heather Young. Pam Minnick, she's not going to be able to join us today. She is off in the mountains of Wyoming on a much-needed vacation, so we're going to miss her terribly. We do have a great show for you today. We've got some tips on getting that show coat ready for your horses for the show pen. It is that time. We've got the world shows coming up. And if you just wondered how those horses get that slick and shiny show coat, Heather's going to give you some tips and some secrets on how to do that. Also, we didn't have Thirsty Thursday yesterday, so we're going to have Refreshment Friday. So Kobe Petter is here. He's going to be whipping up that prize winning drink. We had asked y'all to send in some recipes for your favorite drink. And so Kobe, we're going to reveal that today. We tasted all of them. They were great, but we had to pick one. So today's prize winning drink we'll be doing shortly. But right now, let's get to what we've got going on. Heather Young has been busy. Got some exciting things coming up for our show. So Heather, tell us what you got.
Well, hello, Facebook. I know it's been a while since we have been with you, and we've been missing you terribly. So we made ourselves set aside some time today to be sure to come to you live, and we definitely miss our show, so we do apologize for that. But hey, most importantly, we have a horse show that's in progress right now, a virtual horse show, and we have 2 weekends left. So our entry deadline is August the 29th. That's not this Sunday, but next Sunday. And then our video deadline, you post the video to the Facebook page, is Monday, August 30th. So we have 2 weekends left, and be sure to get those entries in. Just go to our website, www.hy virtualranchshow.com. You can enter there, pay your entry fee right there. It also shows you the ranch riding pattern AQHA 7, as well as the trail pattern. Thanks to Rob Houghton for designing that. And be sure to get your entries in. We've got some great prizes that we will draw for to the entrance to that horse show. And one thing I wanted to show you guys is we have a new sponsor, and it is Gator Tail Bags out of the UK. Debbie Burns sent me a bunch of these tail bags. They come in black and blue. They have a nice, strong Velcro, double Velcro. So there's 2 pieces of Velcro here to go through the braid, and they Velcro down, along with a nice top Velcro to secure it. But the thing I like about this the most is the outside is a strong, it's a nylon, but it's smooth. The thing that I typically don't like about tail bags is because they are nylon, they're really harsh on the horse's tail hair, and it tends to break it off. But inside of this tail bag has a liner, and it's nice and soft. It's a different material than the outer that's nice and strong to hold up. So this is a really nice tail bag. Again, thank you, Tail Gator out of the UK, Debbie Burns. Her horses are ridden by Terry Brazier, and they do very well. And if you've noticed, they all have a beautiful tail. It's gorgeous, long, thick tail, and this is her secret.
And that's going to be good. That's going to be a good tip too for what you've got coming up for the show coat, how to get that ready.
Yeah, Sherry, first impression is always very, very important. The overall picture is very, very important when you are showing. When you walk through that gate and you present yourself to the judges, that first impression is very important, that you look confident in yourself and in your horse and what you're doing. But not only that, but that your horse looks good and he looks immaculate. He's clean. All of the white is clean and pristine and shiny and bright. And, whenever we get into the Quarter Horse World Show, that's actually in November in Oklahoma City. And by that time, horses, if they are not taken care of in a proper manner, they've by then grown a winter hair coat. And, a winter hair coat, it just takes away that bloom and that pop that a nice slick horse has. So if you're planning on showing at the larger shows towards the end of the year, I know the Appaloosa World shows also in November. So that's another important one. So if your horses are going to a major show, it's really important to have a nice hair coat. And people really want to say, well, but these are ranch horses. It doesn't matter. Well, yes, it does. At the end of the day, it really does, because when you are looking at that quality of horse and rider combination, it's the little things that split hairs. So when you walk in that arena and that horse looks amazing, he's shiny, he's slick, and he looks like, $10 million, it makes a difference. And that run versus a run that's just like it, but one horse is hairy and dull and doesn't have that bloom and that pop. The horse that has the pop, he stands out. So I definitely think it's important. And another thing, I really hate going through whenever we come around to spring and the horses are shedding and you have all this hair going everywhere. I cannot stand that. So I'm an advocate of keeping a horse slick and shiny.
Well, and it makes you feel better. It's kind of like, when you're getting dressed up to go out somewhere, you want to have, or most of us want to have makeup done and the hair done. You just feel better when you look good, when you're going somewhere in public. And our horse show, the World Show, is pretty public. I mean, you're being filmed, you're being watched by your friends at home, and you want that shiny coat. Everything that you can do to make it look better makes you feel better. So what are some of the tips on how to get that done? I mean, is it a certain time of year? I know that surprisingly enough, you have told me to start getting Wrangler ready now. I mean, get him under light. So explain what that means.
Well, if you guys have noticed right now, here in the last week, our hours of daylight have started decreasing. Have you noticed that, Sherry?
Oh, I have. And of course, I try to get out and do all my stuff early in the morning, so I don't really notice it as much in the evening. But yeah, and what you're about to say, I had no idea made that much difference.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we are mid to late August, and the daylight hours are decreasing. So what that means to animals in general, God is telling the animals our daylight is decreasing, which means winter is upon us soon. So as we lose daylight hours, it just triggers in a horse's biological clock. It tells them in their brain, there's a little switch in there, and it tells that horse winter is approaching. Get ready, get your body ready for winter. And so what happens is the horse you'll see him kind of start shedding. You're like, oh, my horse is shedding. It's September and my horse is shedding. Well, what he's doing is he's shedding his nice, slick summer coat because he's about to grow a winter coat. So don't let that fool you. Now, how do we keep that winter coat from growing? Well, we want to mimic the daylight hours of summer. So it's very important that you have 16 hours of daylight on your horse. So your horse needs to be in a stall under lights for 16 hours. So you could do 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night. You can put a timer on. There's different kind of timers that you can buy at Walmart, Home Depot, different farm and market stores, whatever. But there's a little timer that you can buy and plug in. If you're using the clamp lights, make sure that they are all set to come on at the same time and for a full 16 hours. Like I said, 6 to 10 or 6 to 11 is really, really a good time to do that. And then they have their darkness and it keeps the horse on track. Now, the key to this is that the horse has enough light. So let's say you have a stall and you have a nice bright light over your stall. It's very bright. You want it to mimic what daylight is. You need to be able to easily read a newspaper under that light in all areas of the stall. If there's black spots, dark spots, that's not good. That won't work. The entire stall needs to be lit up where you can easily read a newspaper in all areas of the stall. Now, let's say your stall is lit up nice and bright, but you have a little run where the horse can go outside and it doesn't have any light. That won't work for you either, because the horse will go out there and he's in the dark, and the light that you do have available does no good. Everywhere that horse is able to be in his stall and or run has to have light. And like I said, enough light to easily read a newspaper, excuse me. So what this means is you can't just put a little light fixture above in the middle of his stall and put a little 100-watt light bulb. That will not work for you. Ideally, you have 8-foot fluorescent light above it, or some LED lights. If you use clamp lights, that's fine. What I have found is, like, you can buy 200-watt light bulbs, and they don't last very long, so you'll have to replace them pretty regularly. You can put several of those up. Make sure the entire stall is lit up and it's nice and bright, just like the middle at 12 o'clock in the middle, 12 o'clock during the day, in the middle of summer. It needs to be bright. And so with this number of hours and this bright light, what you're telling the horse's brain is it's still summertime. So we're actually tricking them. We're changing their biological clock that's in their brain, so that they do not understand that winter is upon us and that they need to grow a winter coat. Now, I do want to tell you that if you have mares, this will keep them cycling strong, just like spring, summer, that sort of thing. So if you were to bring a mare in that's been out, I have an instance where I had a mare that came in and turned out she wasn't under light. She grew a winter coat and they brought her to me. I didn't think anything of it. I put her in my stall in my barn and didn't think anything of it. Well, all of a sudden I have a mare that is in heat, like very strong heat cycles. Well, in their mind, it's summertime, it's spring, it's summer. So their body starts cycling. So be aware of that. If you let that horse be outside and grow a winter coat and mentally go into winter, and then you bring them into a barn that's under lights, that could definitely happen to you. You could have a mare that's more marish than normal, but the mare will definitely keep cycling with these lights on. But on the upside of all of this, what you have is a horse that is slick, shiny. He doesn't have that thick, hairy coat that you have to deal with, and a lot of problems come with that. Not only is it not a good first impression in the show ring, but they get really hot whenever we're riding them and it's still hot and they have this thick hair coat. It's hard to cool them down and they get really hot and sweaty. And like I said, it's messy whenever they do start shedding. You have a mess with all this thick hair going everywhere. But it is a misconception to some people that we're showing ranch. So, nobody cares about their hair coat. Well, really and truly, they do. At the end of the day, we're splitting hairs. We have a lot of really good riders, a lot of really good horses. And that first impression, looking your best, horse looking its best, it really does make a difference. And I would highly recommend that you do keep a nice slick coat on your horses if you're going to show at that upper level.
Because we still have judges. I mean, judges, it'd be different if we were just at maybe a roping or something where nobody really paid any attention, but we're being judged when we walk in. And like you said, that first impression, if they're looking and your horse is slick and shiny, boy, that's one of the first things that you see. I mean, I know I see it watching the videos of some of these shows. I look at the horse, as they're coming in. But with that said, when we talk about blanketing, because everybody blankets their horses during the winter, or most everybody does. So still do the same temperature wise as far as the blankets when you've got them under the light. So if it's below 70, do you put a sheet on, and then the same way as you would if you weren't under lights?
And that's a great point, and I'm glad you brought that up. Yes, I mean, if you're going to keep hair if you're going to prevent your horse from growing hair, you certainly don't want him to be naked when it's 30 or 20 or below 0 degrees, right? So keep that in mind. But ultimately, what keeps a horse from growing hair is the hours of daylight that their mind ingests, okay? Whether it's lights that we put on them, they now have a mask for especially made for brood mares that are out in the pasture that shines a light in their eye. It somehow shines a light and it tells their biological clock that the hours of daylight are still the same as spring and summer. But be mindful of that. I mean, if it's hot, don't put a blanket on them. The blanket does not prevent a horse from growing hair. It's all about light hours. If it's cold, put a blanket on them. And yeah, so however you were doing that, I would continue doing that. When it's in the 60s, you want to put a sheet on. When it gets down to 40s, a blanket, not necessarily a super heavy blanket, but when it gets down in 20s and 30s, you want a heavy blanket. So continue doing that as you did and be mindful of that. But don't have the mindset that, oh, well, I blanketed my horse is not going to grow hair. He will definitely grow hair. Now, if you don't have the 16 hours of daylight. Now, on that, again, I can't emphasize enough, you cannot just have a 100 watt light bulb up there and expect your horse to not grow hair. It has to be very bright. The entire stall has to be lit up, just like it were during the summertime.
Yeah, and I ordered all of my stuff from Amazon because Tractor Supply was out of it. Lowe's didn't have those cans, like you're talking about, the clamp lights and the other cans. So then I had to order they didn't have the 200 watt bulbs either. And my stall's a little bit bigger. So I've got to put 2 sets of those cans. I'd have the LED lights in front, but so it was a little bit challenging, but Amazon, thank goodness, they delivered and I got it all set up. This is my first time to do this because we'd always had the World Show in August. And so I never really thought about the lights and getting all of that ready for that. So you had told me earlier in the year that by August, because Wrangler's coat didn't look all that pretty at the World Show last year because I didn't have any under lights where it's a timed light. So I'm anxious to see how all of this works out. I'm sure it's going to be a whole lot nicer because now that I know, that's all I hear about are people putting their horses under lights. So this will be fun.
And the key to it is to be consistent. And really the only way you can be consistent with those lights is a timer. And like I said, you can buy just a little timer. It'd be in the lawn and garden section, a little box, and it plugs right into your plug, your receptacle. And you can set the timer where it comes on 6 a.m., turns the lights off at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock if you want to go a little later. But 6 to 10, that's a good 16 hours and you'll be safe doing that. So, but the key is to be consistent. And so a timer, it is very important.
Yeah, I got mine set. It comes on at 7, it goes off at 11. So, and then I will let Wrangler out. I put a sheet on him today, a fly sheet and sun sheet, so he could still get turned out a little bit today, and put a fly mask over his head so he didn't fade out those ears. So I normally was turning him out at night and thinking that was the best thing to do, but evidently it was not. So he still gets a little bit of turnout time, but I do cover him up, and I'm ready. I can't wait to see how he's going to look.
Yeah, and that's another that's a great point about turning them out. During the summertime, we do like to turn our horses out at night and let them get out and graze and move around, have a little free time. But by the middle of August, they need to be up and under a full 16 hours of lights. And if you do want to turn them out, early morning is always good. Or if you're going to turn them out in the middle of the day, then, that fly sheet does help to protect them from the sun. And that way they don't get sun bleached.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited about it. And we'll report back on what I find with Wrangler. So those were excellent. That was an excellent tip. Anything else you want to add to that?
There's not, but I do want to say, so again, not this weekend, but next weekend is the deadline to enter for our virtual show. And then, so that would be the 29th. And then on the 30th, Monday, the 30th, you will upload your videos to the Facebook page. So again, we'll do our money deal. So those who win, we have our payout schedule and you'll get your payout. But then we do a random drawing for those who have entered. And in that drawing, we will give away, again, we still have some of these shirts that Mary Miller had donated so graciously. It says Ride the Pattern. and it has a ranch riding pattern on the back. And then on the front, it says HY Virtual Ranch Show. So we'll be drawing for a couple of those and these nice tail bags that I told you about. Tailgater. I'm excited about these.
Oh yeah, and those are going to be perfect for wrapping that tail up and keeping it looking really nice and pretty too. Those will be perfect. I hope I get to draw for one of those. I may just have to order one from them.
Yeah, me too. I like those a lot. They're nice. I typically just use a sock because, like I said, most tail bags are just nylon on the outside and the inside. The inside doesn't have a liner, and that nylon's really hard on it's harsh on the horsehair, and it rubs and rubs and rubs, and that friction, and it'll just break the tail hair right off. But I use what I have always used until now is just a tube sock, and I tie it in, and it's nice and soft, and the cotton's soft, and it doesn't break the tail off. But what they've done with these, it's great. They put a liner inside that's soft, and that's the key.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome, and that keeps it from breaking. And I have a little trouble with Wrangler with just braiding it. He wants to kind of rub and break that hair off. So a nice tail bag will be good.
So what are we drinking, Kobe? I'm thirsty.
Hey, well, that's the thing. We've got we had that little recipe that people were sending in, and we had to go through a few drinks, and they were awesome. And we want to encourage people to continue to send these in. We'll do this from time to time. The winner gets a $25 gift card to Specs or Twin Liquors, or if you're out of the country, we can just send you a gift card that can be used anywhere. But Kobe Petter's here, and my favorite bartender of all time.
What's up, y'all?
Here. And what in the world? I mean, I know we tried them all, but they were all really, really good.
They were. This one was one of my favorites because it had a lot of tequila in it, and I love tequila. This one was sent in by Amanda Sanchez. It's called Rosa's Gold Rush. And it sounds intriguing, and it actually tastes really, really good.
So what all is in it?
So we're going to use, it's 1.5 ounces of tequila. We're using Código.
Yes, it was a Código Rosa.
Yeah.
Is what the recipe was.
Exactly.
Was from,
rose tequila.
Yeah.
And so we're going to use that. It's 1.5 ounces each. So we're making 2 today. So it's going to be 3 ounces.
And if it's Código, you know it's got to go. I do love Código.
Uh-huh.
That's a sipping tequila. Código is a sipping tequila.
So is it the Código you love or George Strait that you love?
Well,
yes.
It's a little bit of both. It didn't hurt any that this picture was on some of the tequila that we used.
All right, after the tequila, it calls for 1/2 ounce each of freshly lemon juice. And how we do it here, we do it fresh, as you can see.
Oh yeah, fresh lemons.
And then it calls for 1 ounce, so 2 ounces of we used what did we use? Tangerines.
Yeah.
Tangerines, freshly squeezed tangerine juice.
Who doesn't like freshly squeezed tangerines?
It's good. It's always good.
And tequila.
Exactly. 1/2 ounce of simple syrup, so about 1 ounce. If I can get the right one. And we're gonna shake it up.
We were so excited about this when we got it. This, like I say, it was definitely our favorite. I do like Código, the tequila. Use some cheaper stuff with some of the other things, but it's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, it really is.
So what kind of tequila was it? Reposado or the silver or añejo? What kind of tequila? The Código.
This is the Rosa.
This is a 1530 Rosa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I do like the Reposado. That's what I keep in my freezer to sip. It is freaking amazing. But this is the Rosa. So we had to go and splurge a little bit on the Rosa. It is not a cheap tequila,
But it's good.
but it is the good tequila, and it is worth every penny. And then the club soda was there's a lot of fizz in that club soda right there.
Carbonation. Which weird, 'cause it's been sitting here the entire time.
I know.
All right. Then we're going to top the drink off with a little club soda. As long as it doesn't explode on you.
It is really, it's a pretty drink. It's not crazy sweet. Of course, we use the simple syrup that I use is always a sugar free. It's really, really good. Heather, what have you got to drink over there while we toast?
Well, mine is my usual, my go-to Crown and Diet Coke.
There
But
you go.
I do love a good margarita, and I'm very picky about my margaritas. So I'm sure I would love that. And I wish I was with you guys to enjoy that Codigo margarita.
We wish you
Oh,
were
yeah.
here too, but
Amanda Sanchez, thank you for the
yes,
for the recipe. It was really, really good.
congratulations. And we will be sending that out to you. Let me try it first.
So will you guys be posting that recipe
Right.
onto the Rhinestones
Yes, we will.
page? Great.
Definitely will.
Yeah, I definitely want to try that. Like I said, I love a good, great margarita. I don't like the cheap stuff with just some sort of weird mix. That I don't care for, but I do like a freshly squeezed margarita, and that looks amazing.
You know what? And,
It really
and as
is.
we're drinking it this time, I didn't really think about it first time because we had several that we were trying. But this, if you were to salt that rim, it
Mhm.
really tastes a lot like a margarita. A really, I mean, freshly squeezed margarita. So might could add a little more tequila.
And actually, in my margaritas, anyways, I actually tend to put a little bit of orange splash of orange juice in them
Yeah.
to cut the tartness of that sweet and sour and the lime. So this actually is really, really good.
So
And
there's
it's,
no sweet and sour in this. So you got
There's no
less
sweet and sour in
calories.
this. Yeah, less calories. We use the diet simple syrup. For you diabetics.
I know, but it is amazing. So if you've got more recipes, please go ahead and send them in. We'll try them and we'll get the prizes out.
We do like to drink, so please send more.
Yeah, we like to try something different. So give us something. Right here the other day, we had a few. Of course, the prize had already been, the drink had already been picked, but several people were, after our video, were putting in recipes. So we will move those over into the new segment. So, and all the recipes that we had before will also be back in there too. But
there were some good ones. This one just had us.
yeah, this one is, like I say, I like tequila and that Codigo. I don't know if that's what it is, but it sure makes it really good. So
George Strait
congratulations.
sponsor us.
That's that would be nice. But Amanda, thank you very much and congratulations. This is an excellent drink, and I'm hoping that we have these at one of the horse shows. And
Yes.
And Heather, thank you for as always all that you do for me, all that you do for everybody else. People get entered. We've got some great year-end prizes, and we posted those. Get entered because it's a fabulous show, and I think we do a great job of it.
Thank you, Kobe. Thank you, Sherry, for your time. Always,
No,
Kobe, you do a great job bartending.
I tried.
And drinking.
I'm really good. I'm really good at
That
drinking.
down.
All right, guys. Well, happy trails.
Happy trails.
Happy
Cheers.
trails.